Oh, it's one day before the most terrifying days for all turkeys, Thanksgiving. Oh. This is COFOH Live Undead. I am your host, Daniel Crosier, and I am joined by the amazing Zelda Adams. Wow!
Something on my face.
Zelda, how are you?
Oh my god, that was literally incredible. I love that intro. I am amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to to have you on the show. For everybody that's watching out there, Brett and Jeannie and Elise and I, we met you out at the Telluride Horror Show just back in October, and we got to witness you and your family's new piece of art, the amazing film Where the Devil Roams. I mean, that was absolutely lovely, beautiful, and intense.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then to be able to chat with you, and you're a young filmmaker growing up in a family of filmmakers. For people that aren't familiar with you and your parents' work, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you guys got into filmmaking and storytelling?
Absolutely. So when I was around 6 years old, my parents decided that they wanted to make a movie. There's a lot of things that got them to that point, but my mom was an actress and my dad was on like a reality TV show, and he got to see like the behind the scenes of making a show. And when my mom stopped getting some of acting work, she was like, this is bullshit. And my dad was like, yeah, it is. So let's do it ourselves. And so they asked me and my sister if we wanted to be in a film. And of course we were like, yeah. So that's when it all started. Our first 4 films were dramas, and then they turned to horror films. And now we've really found our home, but that's really where our origin was.
Oh, that's cool. At 6 years of, when you say 6 years of age, was that you and your sister's a couple years older than you, right?
Yeah, she's 5 years older than me. She's 25 now, but so she would have been, I guess, 11 at the time.
Okay, nice. And I know your work, really stemming back just a few years, just to Hellbender, really, and that one really got me hooked, and then being able to see Where the Devil Roams, and then catching some of the scenes. I haven't been able to watch all of some of the earlier dramas, but it's just like, oh yeah, I could see where a lot of the horror was starting to kind of creep into, and these really dark and subject matter, kind of dramas too. And it felt like it set a palette for Hellbender, and especially most recently with Where the Devil Roams, because it's kind of a muted colored palette. It's a lot of blues and a lot of grays. Can you tell us a little bit about what was the real deciding factor for like that transition between drama and horror was there just something a little bit more, fantastic about the genre, or was that just kind of, it's a natural progression?
It's a funny story. So we had just finished our fourth one, and my mom was working on a bigger script for another like kind of drama. And so my dad and I were bored. We were like, what are we gonna do while we're not making a movie? And I think I was like an angsty 13-year-old, and I was kind of like, I just want to kill a bunch of men. Can we do that in a movie? And my dad was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. I can make that happen. I know a lot of men. So we ended up making this hour-long film that was a horror, and it was like a timepiece, and it had a lot of like religious aspects to it. It was very like experimental and like kind of this long poem. And so it was called The Hatred, and my dad and I starred in it, and it was really fun. And we got into a bunch of horror festivals and realized that the community was just so fantastic, and like really watched our film and asked questions and like appreciated it. And we really felt like we had a lot of artistic freedom making it. So then we decided to make our next one, The Deeper You Dig, with Tobey involved, who is an incredible writer, and like that just stepped it up to a whole new level.
Nice. That's cool. So yeah, it sounds like at that point you were able to really bring both of your parents into that creative process, going into horror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about like Hellbender, because that's that one seems like a very personal mother-daughter film, and what I read into it is like your character is going into adolescence, discovering herself, and mom is terrified, having to deal with that, and a lot of parents are. It's a tough thing to have to let go of your child.
Yeah. So I definitely, we like to have our stories kind of parallel what's going on in real life. And so when we were making Hellbender, I was in high school, growing up, getting ready to do college applications. And I think that's naturally really scary for both of my parents. And it's about, a daughter wanting to go out and see the world. It's also a story about, we definitely did not want to make a pandemic film because that would kind of isolate it to the time. But it was about like the isolation and loneliness that a lot of people were feeling during the time, and wondering, what would it be like if I was out there and being kept in a certain place. And the amount of growth that happens when you are in isolation.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even think about it as like a kind of that COVID isolation film. I guess I didn't associate it. I just, but now it makes a lot of sense. And I just showed it to Elise, a couple weeks ago, right after we got back from Telluride. I was like, this is what else they did. It's like, this is so amazing. And, she really loved that one too. And, we were talking about, filmmaking, as creatives, kind of, creating those stories around, the resources and materials that you have. Is that something that you're very conscientious about when you're creating a new project?
Totally. Like, I think production value and like what resources we have does play a big role in the kind of film that we're making. Like, Hellbender is a wonderful example of that. It started off conceptualized as a film called The Devil's Daughter, which we wanted to make a film about like, what would it be like finding out that like your parent is a devil, the devil, you know what I mean? And then we were like, you know what? We don't have the budget to make a devil movie and like deal with hell and fire and stuff like that. And that's okay. So then we decided to like make our own, horror creature, a Hellbender. And that was way more approachable. So, and then it's the same with The Deeper You Dig too. I mean, Where the Devil Roams too, is we wanted to make a carnival film, but we knew we were not going to be able to do like a big prestigious like very fanciful carnival movie. It had to be like rotten and real and dirty, which because we could, afford that and we could do that. And I think that honestly adds to our story and our production value a lot. So working with what we have is like our specialty.
Nice. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, when you're watching like where the devil roams, and it's also a period piece too. I guess that kind of sidesteps to another question I have, is because it's a period piece, and resources might be somewhat limited or skewed. Did you guys have problems finding what you needed to really convey that sense of time in America?
Mm-hmm. It we did everything that we could, knowing that like we were not gonna like spend a lot of money on making sure we could make it 1930s. So the way that we got our wardrobe was we
Yeah,
thrifted a lot. We thrifted a lot of clothes that looked like 1930s clothes.
yeah,
My dad and my sister and her boyfriend made all of our sets for the carnival set, like the stages and
cool.
stuff like that. And then I'll also say we were really lucky because my grandparents, their house is like built from that era. So it's very
Ooh,
old, has great wallpaper. We shot a lot of interior scenes in there. And
nice.
so that means old clocks, old record players, and old cars. Because my
Yeah.
grandpa, he collects old cars. So knowing that, we were like, you know what? They need to have this 1930s car because we have access to it. I think
Oh,
if we didn't have that, if my grandpa didn't have that car, we wouldn't have had a car in the movie.
yeah. Wow, that's pretty cool. You, what a resource to have. Yeah, I'd imagine the interiors that we saw, um, you know, of your grandparents or your grandfather's place. That's probably where I'd imagine a number of killings took place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
when when you're doing like special effects, especially blood effects and stuff, is that just absolutely the funnest thing? And
Yes, it is
yeah,
so fun. It's literally like my favorite part. We we make our own blood. We
nice.
have a lot of fun. Often we work with our great friend and wonderful special effects guy, Trey Lindsay. He's there for a lot of the
Ooh,
killings, and he's the one that like makes a lot of the magic happen through compositing and green
okay,
screening and just digital effects. So it's always like it feels like a big day, a big production day. So it's fun.
nice. Oh, that's cool. The with collaborating with your parents too. Um, do you guys rotate quite a bit? Like who's behind camera, who's directing, who's on lighting detail, or is it just kind of interchangeable depending on what the situation needs?
Yeah, absolutely. We switch up a lot. I mean, most of the time it's my dad and me behind the camera, but if one of us is acting in front of it, definitely the other one is going to be working the camera behind the scene. And as for sound, this
Mhm.
one, I think a lot of us learned how to do the sound
Okay.
for it, but often John does a lot of the sound. It's very easy, like it's just a mic stand and like two Sennheiser mics. Um, and directing wise, normally we
Yeah.
all try to like direct each scene, but sometimes people are more connected and like more bonded to one scene than the other.
Oh,
In
right.
those situations, someone will take more of a charge than the others.
Nice. And then, yeah, is it your mom predominantly like writing the scripts, or do you guys also all collaborate?
So when we're developing the stories, we all collaborate.
Yeah.
Um, like for this idea, it came out from a dream I had, and I brought this idea to them, and then we started talking about it all together, and it developed a lot because that's how it normally works. Someone has one idea, and then everyone else is like, "Wait, that's cool. But what if we did this?" And then it just like
Yeah.
turns into a wonderful monster. And But then often Tobey will put it into like script form, might I say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's really good at making sure that like we hit certain lines and stuff like that.
Okay. Wow, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, I always love the idea when an idea is presented to the group and just see how that germ of an idea just kind of grows and where it goes. It's always exciting. I think. Do you find you know working on an idea, like if something goes like drastically into an area that you don't like, do you have like the veto power to like, whoa, put the brakes on it? Or do you like, are you of the mind of like, well, let's see where this goes? Is it pretty adventurous?
Yeah, sometimes someone will say an idea that's like, this is a really, really far off idea, but let me know
Mhm.
what you think. And sometimes it's like, no, that I'm sorry, like that's just not gonna happen. And I think
Okay.
it's good that we all can like voice these kind of crazy opinions because sometimes really good ideas are born out of it. But sometimes someone says something crazy and it's like, wait, yes. And it's so yeah, there are a lot of moments where we just like shoot out a lot of crazy ideas, but I would say like 20% of the time they stick.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Wow. That that's pretty good because so often in like creative collaborations, families or otherwise, sometimes feelings get hurt, and
Mhm.
it's hard to see things through. But then and you know would it be that you guys have worked for so long in your family that it doesn't really matter, you get the job done, work through issues and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course, like with anything, there are going to be moments of like
Yeah.
conflict, but I think that we have a really healthy relationship with that where it's like, look, if we all have three different ideas, if we have time, let's all shoot it three different ways. If we don't, who has the more
Ooh,
thought out idea? And then that's what we're going to
yeah.
do. Often, like, we look at things in the editing process, and that kind of tells us which way was the best.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a lot of just like discussions to make
Yeah.
sure that we're kind of prepared.
That's cool. I think that's a beautiful thing about art and filmmaking and storytelling is, yeah, it's creative problem solving. It's figuring out what works best to make the best piece, and really making your palette.
Yeah.
Looks like Brett, who you met, just commented. Let me see here. Let me bring that up. Uh, Love seeing Where the Devil Roams and Telluride. What areas in filmmaking did you participate in besides the acting?
So I directed, did the cinematography, wrote, and acted in Where the Devil Roams. It's a very collaborative process. We all,
Yeah,
co-write all this. Yeah, it's super fun, and I think we all specialize in different parts of the filmmaking process. Like we all direct in different ways. John
right.
and I do the cinematography together, and we can have a similar eye if we want to, but also very different ones.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool. One thing too, like yeah, in as far as my knowledge goes, um, with Hellbender, you and Tobey are on screen and you're doing music together. You've got your band and everything, and then in Where the Devil Roams, um, you're up there singing. That's part of the sideshow stage performance that you're doing. And your character's mostly mute in most other scenes, or at least doesn't speak, right?
Yeah.
But sings so beautifully. Is that something that you and John and Tobey work on off camera quite a bit? Like, do you have your own band separate from the filmmaking projects?
Yeah, so we have a band called Hellbender, actually. But
Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
but all the E's are sixes, so that you have
Cool.
666, Satan, all that fun stuff. Um,
Nice.
and so, you know, a little bit of background. My dad has played in bands for a lot of his life, and my sister and I grew up listening and watching him play in these bands. And I remember my sister was in a band with him when she was really young, and then she was like, "Never mind, I don't want to be in a band anymore." And I was like, "Well, I want to be in a band." So eventually, my dad and I formed a band together. I
Cool.
was playing drums, and that was called Kid California. And then I got a little bit older, and I was like, I don't want to play drums anymore. I want to sing. So that's eventually we made a band called Hellbender, and then Tobey and Lulu were like, we want to sing too. So now we're
Cool.
all a band together. We don't practice. My dad makes the music with his like guitar and his computers and stuff, and then we all sing on it. So it's really just making the music and then sharing it with the world. But yeah,
Nice.
we did the soundtrack for Hellbender and Where the Devil Roams, and also you're able to listen to it on like Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes, all
Ooh,
that.
cool.
But we just released like part one to the soundtrack for Where the Devil Roams.
Nice. Okay, great. So so people can go right now and purchase, those soundtracks.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Uh well, I know where I'm going to be going, right after this interview.
Oh, stop. So sweet. Thank you.
Now Brett's chiming in again. Oh, this is sweet. So we'd love to have Zelda, John, and Toby out for COFOH 2024,
Yes.
and Lulu too.
Yes, please. Oh, please. That sounds so fun. Like,
So
yes.
yeah, I think Brett's got your parents' contact info, but yeah, uh, off camera, let us know if there's an agent or anybody that we need to go through.
Got you.
Cool. Um, yeah, so it's really fascinating to watch like a family like yours, doing all these amazing creative processes, and but do you ever like consider like, well, I kind of want to do a project separate from the family collective? Uh, is that something you've considered or looked into?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's growing up, that's always been something I've thought about, like wondering what working would be like, not with my family.
Yeah.
I can't say I've done much of it. I've acted in other people's projects.
Oh, cool.
But I just started going to college last year. So I think now I'm at a point where I would really like to do projects with other people, but I
Nice.
definitely want to keep making films with my parents. Like, I don't foresee myself right now making a feature, like directing a feature with other people.
Okay.
Maybe some kind of other projects, like in the fashion world or music
Yeah.
videos, short films. I would love to do solo or like with other students.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, and I think too, like, with your extensive, knowledge and background too, you'd be a tremendous resource for people just really finding their creative, voice, at their age, same age as yourself too.
Thank you. That's really nice of you to say.
Yeah. You you mentioned when we were just chatting before we went live, we were talking about you're in school right now, and your class tonight is fashion, um, kind of discussing and kind of critiquing different fashion from different eras and all that. Is that something that you're looking to go into also and do like fashion design, or is it more like fashion historian?
Yeah, great question. So currently I'm at school, but I also do modeling on the side. I
Oh,
love it
cool.
so much. It's a really fun kind of art form, different than acting, but
Hmm.
also kind of in the same world. I'm not interested in like designing clothes, but I am interested in like creating content around fashion, like
Cool.
being the person that like makes the campaigns for like high-end fashion brands. I think that'd be really fun. Being like a creative director or an art
Yeah.
director, I think would be really fun. But I would love to figure out how to like fuse horror and fashion because they look
Yes.
so damn good, and I haven't
Yeah.
seen enough people do it. So I really want to do that.
Yeah. I could totally see, a fashion show where at the end of the night, it just all ends with like the famous blood scene at the opening of the original Blade, right?
Yep.
Just sprinklers go live with fake blood and everything, and just everybody has a good time instead of sitting there being stuffy and judging
Exactly.
people's work.
I completely agree. I agree.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so much fun. Yeah, that'd be great. The and I think when we were at Telluride too, when you were on stage and doing a Q&A after the screening of Where the Devil Roams, um, yeah, you were mentioning that uh, you and John, and I don't know if I'd imagine Tobey was involved too. Um, yeah, but just finished up another feature film. Is that right?
Yeah, this summer we shot our next film. It's called Fairy.
Mm,
We shot it in a really quick amount of time, which was new for us and a fun challenge. We're slowly editing it, picking away at it. Um,
nice.
so that was really fun, and we would like to shoot another project this summer as well.
Cool. Cool. Are you guys already laying the groundwork for that?
Yeah, we're in the stage where we're like throwing a lot of ideas at each other. Like we call
Okay.
it the spaghetti stage, where you throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall and like see what sticks. You know what I mean? Like
Nice.
a lot of it just like slides down, but some,
Well, that's a great way to kind of gauge those ideas, the ones that the ideas that stick around. You know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. We got another question. Our friend Brad just popped in. He wants to know what movie scares you the most.
That's a great freaking question. Okay, I have two answers. Wait, do I have three answers? Okay, well,
Ooh,
I loved the movie called The Innocents. It
right.
is, oh gosh, where is it from? It might be a Swedish film, I think. And it came
Okay.
out 2021, and it was so good. It's a
Yeah.
film led all by like children actors. First of all, there's something always scary about children actors. Like there's
Mhm.
something unsettling about like children's lives, and like they have such big imaginations. And I
Yeah.
thought the film um like was almost a mix between The Florida Project and Goodnight Mommy, which are two films that
Right.
I really like, and I would really recommend it.
Yeah.
um Another horror film for jump scare effects and storyline that scares me is The Descent. Um,
Oh,
the
yeah. Okay.
the jump scares are really good. I love the storyline between all the women.
Yeah.
It made me claustrophobic.
Me
Um,
too.
right?
I
It's just
needed,
like
yeah, just that one scene where that one climber was just it's like, and the camera was just like, oh my god. I wanted to leave the theater. Like I was really very agitated
yeah,
after
it's
that
one of
scene.
the films where you're like, I didn't know I had a fear of claustrophobia, or like I was
Right.
claustrophobic until now.
Yeah.
So I think this my last answer is Coraline scares me a lot. It's not because there's
Oh,
jump scares, but because like the whole other mother idea I think is like
yeah.
really invasive and scary. And when I
Yeah.
think about it on my own, it's like a really scary thought for me.
Yeah. No, no, definitely. That would be pretty freaky to wake up in a completely different world, and you have this, kind of surrogate,
Yeah.
posing. It's almost like a, dealing with somebody else's doppelganger in a way. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough if you have to run into your own doppelganger. But yeah, that's I love that movie, and I did feel, mildly uneasy,
Yeah.
seeing mom, and it's like, how is she gonna, get out of this situation, Poor
I
Coraline.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and, and that I think that's the beauty of like those type of films. Like it, it to be a good film, it doesn't need to make you feel warm and fuzzy. If it
Yeah.
unnerves you or frustrates you or something, it's doing something. It's evoking some kind of response from you. And I think that's,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that makes it very successful.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, yeah. So The Descent, I have yet to see The Innocents, but I've got a number of friends that highly recommend that, and just I need to jump on that.
Get on it. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. So just a few more things before I let you go. But can you share with us, where we can go see, your films? I know Hellbender's playing constantly. It's such a popular film on Shudder. Um, you know, can you tell us where we can catch, when the devil roams, or where the devil roams? Ugh, not when. That doesn't make
I
any.
know you're so good.
Yeah.
So it is streaming now, which we're so excited about. So
Okay.
you can get it on Apple TV, I think
Sweet.
Amazon and iTunes, for like rent or purchase. It is, and like Google Play and stuff like that.
Cool.
And Vudu. It's gonna be streaming on Tubi. We're not sure when yet,
Mm.
but that's something that we're also really excited about. So yeah, it's people are finally able to watch it, which we're really excited about.
That's cool. The gauging from the response at like Telluride. I mean, I know the Telluride audience really loves you, and in your family's work. Um, oh, was there an earthquake? Yeah.
No,
Oh
yeah,
no.
no. Ah!
Oh no. Iceland. What's going on?
Help.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you go into like film festivals, it do you find that like the horror community is just really really engaged? And does that is that differ a little bit from your experience? Seeing like dramas and more traditional audiences.
Absolutely. The horror community is literally amazing. Like they're so just welcoming, especially to us like as a family. They're also really intelligent. That's something that
Mm,
we love.
yeah.
Is like, there are films that like are, like blockbusters and like they, as you said, they have like such a formula. But I think
Mm,
that there are so many horror fans that like want to see something like intellectual and talk about it
mhm,
and read between the lines. It's so fun.
yeah.
Um, I think with dramas, it was hard because you have to follow a certain formula, and
Mm,
it gets a little like exhausting after a while. And especially
yeah.
if you don't have a star in your movie, it's really hard to get um, success and financial success. So it got boring.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can understand that, and some of the subject matters that you guys were dealing with are really, really harsh. Kind of dealing with the human condition. So, yeah, horror's I think one of those flexible genres that you can take those same ideas of the human condition and apply it, to a much more fun setting, where you can get away with and do a lot more, fun absurdist kind of things. Yeah, even if it means like killing your neighbor on camera, is
Yeah.
just watching all the fake body parts fly and stuff.
No, literally, you stole the
Yeah.
words right from me. Like one of my mom's famous quotes I'm gonna say is like, "We make drama movies, but we just cover them in a lot of blood."
That's great. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Oh yeah. I hope there's T-shirts with that saying on there because I'd like to get one.
we'll have to make some. You know what? We actually do sell T-shirts though, Not those, but we sell t-shirts that say just meat because like meat is just such a great word. And then
Yeah.
also like with Hellbender and Where the Devil Roams, we're like, yeah, meat encapsulates a lot of what we're dealing with. So meat.
Right. Right. Well, I can't wait for that trilogy to come out. Sweet. Yeah, with you guys, I'd love to see it as a a butcher's musical.
Ooh, I love that. I love that.
Kind
Yes.
of maybe an offshoot of like Sweeney Todd, but more contemporary with a lot more bass.
Yes, I freaking love that. I love that you recognize the bass. My dad will be happy to hear that.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and yeah. My girlfriend absolutely loved, the soundtrack to Hellbender. She's like, "Oh my God, I've never heard of this punk band." And
Oh,
she's like, "No, no, no. This is the filmmakers. They did the music as well." I'm like, "Oh shit." It's like that's so cool.
that's
So,
so
yeah, yeah, let us know when you go on tour as well.
we will. And please tell her I say thank you. That's really nice.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Zelda, yeah, we're about out of time. Yeah, and you know, we can't wait to hopefully see you and the family out here in Colorado, hopefully in September. So Brett, if you're still watching, make it happen, god damn it.
Yeah,
And
come on, let's go.
we got our friend Scott. Awesome. Yeah, and keep having fun.
Oh, so great. I
um,
mean, I just want to quickly say thank you so much for having me. You asked such kind and great questions, and it was a lot of fun talking with you. And thank you so much.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, the pleasure's all mine, and it's really great to learn more about your creative process and how you go about sharing your art, sharing your stories, and of course just enriching the world because the world needs
Oh,
stuff like this. You
thank
know,
you.
yeah. Stick around for a few minutes while we sign off, Zelda. But to everybody out there, thanks so much, and make sure to go, hunt down all the amazing, works from Zelda, the Adams family, from Tobey and John, respectively. Wow, just so what a treasure trove of amazing films, done in a group family collaboration. Holy crap. I wish more families were doing this together because, man, how cool would that be? But yeah, Zelda, thanks again. And of course, to our sponsors, thanks so much for putting up with my shenanigans. To Mutiny Information Cafe. If you're going to start a revolution, make sure you're caffeinated. And to Hellfire Entertainment, thanks for rebroadcasting us on your social media. To Groovy TV, and of course to Alien Donut Films and Angela Joseph Productions, Bill and Angela, respectively. Hey, thanks for putting up with my shenanigans. And to my producers, Lily Fisher, Amanda Armstrong, and Stefan Santa Cruz, thanks so much, guys. To everybody out there, have a great Turkey Day. Take a lot of naps tomorrow, and we'll see you next time. Be good, be kind, help each other out during tough times, and stay spooky, everybody.